This is the Excel assignment, getting up to speed using Excel. Many employers who require Excel as part of their job description usually require applicants to do an Excel spreadsheet exercise as part of the hiring process. And most of these exercises are timed exercises. So this assignment that we're going to start off with was brought to us by Dr. David Benson, and it comes from a local company, and it's what they use as one of their spreadsheet exercises. But don't worry, I'm not going to time this exercise for you on this assignment. But before we begin, I just want to let you know I use a Mac for Excel, and I'm recording this on a Mac. And there are a few differences between the Mac version layout and the PC version, especially if you watch the video on ribbons and stuff. You'll see that this top bar is a little bit different from a PC and a Mac. And when I do things on a Mac that are different on a PC, I will let you know, and we will talk about how to do that. But to get started, the instructions or the required deliverables are down at the bottom in the yellow. And we're going to go through each of those 11 things there through this process. So number one is let's sort by last name, then by first name using a single sort. So sorting, while seemingly very simple, is actually a powerful function in Excel. And you'll see that through this process. But to do this, to sort, first we just need to make sure we're clicked anywhere on our range. And so that's anywhere between A column through J column, down between the first row and the 22nd row. Just click any button there. And Excel will know that we're working within this range. And we'll also sometimes call a range a table, but a table is a very specific terminology in Excel, but we'll use table interchangeably all the time. Like I'll say build a table. I'm not meaning to go out and build an exact, what we call an Excel table is just a table in Excel. But so click anywhere on this range. And then to start a sort, let's go up here to the very top and click on data, the data tab. And then to the middle right, we have our sort button. Now this will do alphabetical or numerical from A to Z if we just click those, which we don't want to do because this is going to be a custom sort because we're asking to sort by last name and by first name in a single sort. So go ahead and click the sort button. And you'll see that it'll come up, and make sure that you click or is checked, and mine's automatically checked, my list has headers. So Excel will recognize that you have on row 1, those are headers, and that's not to be part of the sort. If you have that unchecked, it will put that as part of the sort. The other thing is by clicking my list has headers, what's nice is that when we go to look at what we want to sort by, it will ask us which header we want to sort by or what data underneath that header we want to sort by, which makes it really nice. Also, when you're using the AI tool, the new AI tool in Excel, Excel questions that you're going to ask the AI uses the header wording, so what's listed in the header as helping the AI know what to do. So it's actually very important on using headers. So right now we got a sort by, we have a drop down. It'll look a little bit different in PC than in Mac, but it still allows you to do that. And we're going to sort by last name, and then it says sort by first name in a single sort. So we're going to go ahead and click this plus button. So we're going to sort by last name, and then we're going to sort by first name. And then from there, we go ahead and click OK, and you see that we now have the Excel file sorted, where if we did it right, Mark Andreessen comes up first, and then Warren Buffett, then Kevin Burns. And we have it in alphabetical order. One of the things you won't see here is we don't have two of the same last names. If you did, you would have seen that the last name was sorted and then the first name in alphabetical order at the same time. But we just completed part 1. Part 2 is summarized by employment status. We're going to create a table counting the number of people who are working full-time, part-time, contractor, and so forth. And we're going to show you an easy way to build this table. So we're going to go out here And I'm going to scroll over here. We're going to go to M. And we're going to go down here to like M4 down here. And this is where we're going to place our stuff. But let's go over here, and we have employment status in column H. And what we're going to do is we're going to copy this. So there's two ways to highlight this. I can put my mouse over it and just drag down, and I've highlighted this column. Or I can use on a PC Shift Command down, or on a Mac you use Shift Command down. On a PC you use Control Command down. So on a Mac you have Command, on a PC you use Control, and it will highlight that column for you. So either way you want to do it, you can come here and drag down, or on my PC, on a PC I'm going to use Control, Shift Control down. On a Mac, Shift Command down. So we've highlighted that column. Now what we're going to do is we're going to copy it. On a PC, it's Control C. On a Mac is Command C. So Command C is copy, Command V is paste. And so on a PC is Control C is copy, and Control V is paste. So I'm going to use Command C, I'm going to copy, and you can see that my outline of this is now a dotted green, rotating green outline. So it shows you what you're copying. And I'm going to go over here to M4, and I'm going to hit Command V on a Mac, or Command Control V on a PC. Over there. So now I've got this column here where I've copied this entire column. Now what I'm going to do is, if I've clicked off of it, I'm going to re-highlight the column, or if you haven't, leave the column highlighted. And if you've moved out of it, go ahead and click on the Data tab again. And what we're going to do is, over to the right of sort, we have this button called Remove Duplicates. Now if you don't see it, depending upon how wide your screen is and how wide your Excel file is, you might just see the blue, the white, and the little blue with the X on it, and that's remove duplicates. But anytime you hover over any of these, it will actually bring a pop-up to you. So we can see this remove duplicates. And I'm going to go ahead and click on remove duplicates, and it's showing that it's going to be in column N, and I'm selecting all, and click OK, and it says there are 17 duplicates found and removed. 4 unique values remain. So now we have part-time, contractor, intern, and full-time listed on this. And now what I want to do here is, full-time is usually something we look at a lot, full-time and part-time. So I'm going to take full-time, and on my Mac I'm going to do Command X, which is cut, and then Command V, which is paste. On a PC you can do Control X, which is cut, and then Control V, which is paste. I'm going to move that to the top. The other thing I'm going to do is, I'm going to, when I build this table, because what we're going to do is create this table, we want to count the number of people who are working both full-time, part-time, contractor, intern. So I'm going to put employment type, or employee type, right here above it, and then I'm going to go over here to the right and put the count, and notice that my employee type has gone underneath there. And so I'm going to show you a way you can come up here and adjust the size of your columns. So I can put my cursor between the M and the N, and you'll see that I will get this double arrow. And there's two things I can do. I can then hold down my mouse, my left button, and drag it, or I can double click and it will auto size it for me. And so we're going to do that, and we're going to make this look a little bit nicer here in a minute. But we're now going to use the count function, okay, to count these. So we can go in and try to count manually, part-time, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that would be fine, since we have 21 records. We have 22 rows. We have the first row of headers, so we know we have 21 records here. And it might be easy to count manually, but we don't want to do that. That's why we're using Excel. So we have functions. So there's both functions and formulas. Formulas you build, functions you use. And we're going to teach you how to do these things. But right now, what we want to do is we want to use the COUNTIF function. So to begin a function or a formula, we use the equal sign to begin with, so equals. And we can see here that my formula bar here at the top, I have this fx. I've got my equal sign up there, so I can do it in both locations. But I'm going to do it here, equals. And I'm going to start bringing up count, start typing in count, and I'm going to bring up COUNTIF function. And then what's nice about Excel is it shows you what you can do. So it's saying, okay, we're going to do a COUNTIF. What's the range we want to count inside? And so this is actually column H. So I'm going to come here and hold down and drag this down. So it's showing that I am going to count between H2 to H22. So column H from row 2 to row 22. And now in Excel, one of the things you have to do to move inside a function to the next phase is you use a comma. So do a comma there. And now it's asking me the criteria I want to use. And in this case, I'm going to just click on full-time here, okay, which says I want you to look up everything that's in M3 full-time inside this column H. And go ahead and click enter, and it brings back a count that there's 8 full-time employees listed in that column H. Now, for practice, we're going to do this 3 more times using the count function. Later on, we will show you how we do this with some shortcuts. So I'll show you the shortcuts later, but right now, I want us to do it manually, just to practice. So equals COUNTIF, my range, comma, what I want, my criteria, part-time, and just enter. You'll see there'll be other times where we'll go ahead and close that. Excel will automatically close it for us using our parentheses. But right now, since we're just doing one, it'll close it for us. So equals COUNTIF again. My range again, H2 to H22, comma, and my criteria is contractor. I have 4, and one more time, COUNTIF, range, comma, point to intern, return. And now one of the things I'm going to show you here is I use this all the time. So I read spreadsheets every single day, and I develop spreadsheets. And we're going to talk later on about the power of spreadsheets and things like that. But one of the things I do is I verify all my numbers. And so the easiest way to verify this number is to do a sum. We're going to do a total down here at the bottom, total, and we're going to use the sum function. Okay, and the sum function exists both on a PC and a Mac on the home page. And what I'm going to do here is on a PC, what you would do is you would highlight these first 4 rows and then do the auto sum, okay, right there, and it will bring it up to that open one. On a Mac, what you can do is you can highlight those 4, but you can also highlight this last row and click auto sum, and you get the same. Now, how to get to auto sum is you go to your home page. If we were on the data page still, we could go to the home page and you will see the auto sum. On a PC, sometimes it's over here on the left because it's used a lot, or other places, and it might be on the right. On formulas, it is definitely over here on the left because we use it a lot, but it's also on the home page because it's used so much. Now, let's go ahead and make this look a little bit better. So we'll go up here to employee and count. We'll highlight that. And then over here on our home page, we have our fill and our font size and all of this right here. On a PC, it will actually tell you down here and will label this area for you. So right now, I'm just going to use light blue over there. And then I'm going to go to borders, and I'm going to do all borders. Oops, I got to highlight that and do all borders. Notice it did my all borders right there. And this is a good learning to go back in a lot of programs now, and especially Excel, I can do Command Z, and it will get rid of the last things that I did. I hit it 3 times, so it went back 3 things. So I'll go ahead and fill this again, highlight it, and do all borders. And then I'm going to come down here to the total 21. I'm going to come to borders again, but this time I'm going to use a top bottom border. And now you see we've created a nice table that's easy to read. We know what the employee type is. We know the count of the employees. If we want to go a little bit further to make it easier to read, I would go in here to count, and I would do my alignments. I would right align that so it's above my numbers. Okay, so very easy to do. And now we have completed assignment number 2 there, which was summarize employee, create a table. Now what we're going to do is we're going to extract the area code from the mobile phone number, and we're going to extract the last 4 digits from the work phone. And by doing this, what we're going to do is we're going to add 2 columns. So in column E, we're just going to come here and put your cursor over column E and click, and it highlights the entire column. And if you right click now, we're going to click insert, and it inserts a new column. We're also going to go to column G, do the same thing, put our mouse over it, click, right click, and insert, and we just created 2 new columns because we're working on 3 and 4 at the same time. Now I'm going to come up here in E in the header, and I'm going to name the header, and we're going to name this area code. So go ahead and type in area code, and under G we're going to type in last 4. Okay. So what we're going to do is we want to extract the area code out of the mobile phone number. So we want to extract the area code, which is the first 3 digits. So we're going to use a function called left. So we're going to do equals, and we start typing in left, and we come up to our function, and it asks us what text are we looking at. Well, we're looking at D2, so it'll bring up D2, and to move to the next part of the function, we do our comma, and it's going to ask how many characters do we want to start from the left and bring over. Well, the zip code is 3 characters. We want to bring 3 characters starting at the left and bring them over and hit return, and we see that we have area code 415. Now I'm going to do that again for this next one just to practice. I'm going to go equals left. There. My text is now D3, comma, number of characters 3, enter. Okay. Now we can continue to do this, or there is actually a fill button. We can do it manually. We don't want to do it manually. We want Excel to do it for us. So we can actually fill it down. And there's 2 ways to do it. I can click on whichever one of these I want, okay, over there. So if you've got the 415 and the 421, we'll start here at the 421. I can fill this down. And how you would do that, notice I've got my cursor and clicked on E3, which is that cell 421, and I've got a green box around it. And to the right of the green box, I've got this little green box down here at the bottom. Now that little green box may become one of your best friends in Excel, because you can manipulate the formula and the things inside that cell by using this little green box. So I can come over here with my mouse, and notice right now my mouse is showing a white plus. And if I go and click on that or bring it over to that little green box, it's now a black plus. On a PC, it might be a white hand that turns to a black hand. Okay? And there's 2 things I can do. I can then left click my mouse and hold it down and drag this down, and it's basically drag that formula down all the way down. Okay, so notice I'm at right here. If I click on it, here's my formula bar up here at the top, my function bar. It shows left equals D3, which is what I wanted to bring in number of characters. And if I come down here, it's showing D4, D5, D6. So that's one way to do it. Now I'm going to do a Command Z and back this up. And the other way I can do this, instead of dragging it down, because what if I have 100 rows or 500 rows or 1,000 rows? And we will use some data later on that is that big. But let's go ahead and double click now. So I put my mouse over there. It changed, so it shows that I am working on that little corner, and double click and it fills it down for me. So very nice to do, and we've just completed this. Now we've used and completed number 3. Number 4 is extract the last 4 digits. So we use the left function to get the 3 from the left. Over here we want the last 4 of the work phone. So we use the left function. We also have a right function. So equals, and start typing in right, and we'll bring it up just like we did before. What text do we want to? And then how many characters from the right do we want to bring over? And we said it's the last 4 characters, and we hit enter, and now it's brought over the last 4, 5, 7, 8, 2. And you can fill it down, drag it down, or double click, and it's filled in our table for us. Now, really quick, I deal with a lot of spreadsheets, like I said before, and I want to make it easy for me to read and easy for others to read. And so we can look at the spreadsheet here, and it's kind of busy to read. You know, we've got all this data, the last 4 in column G and column E. So there's a couple things that we can do, and we're going to do it both ways. So in column E, what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight that column. And if you're not on the home page, go back to the home button. And right above this, we have our indent. So this is our where we can do our justification, you know, left, center, right, over here. And these 2 buttons right here, that's decrease indent and increase indent. So I'm going to click it once, and notice that it moved everything over a little bit, so it's a little bit easier to read. Now in column G, we're going to highlight that column and then use center, and so it makes it a little bit easier to read there. The other thing we can do is we can again resize this like we did before, and I'm going to come over here between E and F, and I'm just going to resize that so it's a little bit easier to read on there. So just think about that when you're doing spreadsheets, on how you want it to look for yourself and how it would look if you sent it to somebody else. So we just formatted the data there a little bit. Okay. Now on number 5, it says extract the birth year from date of birth and then calculate their age using December 31st, 2024, and also the today function. So this is 5 and 6, and we're going to do this together just like we did 3 and 4. So we're going to go over here to column I, highlight column I, and we're going to do insert 3 times. So we have 3 new columns, and we're going to go ahead and each of these columns, and this is going to be year over here, and this is going to be age as of December 31st, 2024, and this is going to be age as of today. Okay. So we're going to be using both of these functions, and we're going to teach you how to do this. Now, a little bit about dates in Excel. Okay, dates are a little bit different in Excel. So Excel formats a date. So if we look at this right now, and we're on the home screen, this is our numerical formatting, and it's showing that it's date. Okay, because this is formatted as a date. Let me now format this for you as a number, and just watch. You don't have to do. Notice that my date turned into 26,123. And what this is this is 26,123 days from January 1st, 1990. So how Excel formats this is it's numerical in the background, and it looks at it as the number of days from January 1st, 1900. Not 1990, sorry, 1900. 1/1/1900. So it's either plus or negative. And then when it's formatted as a date, you have long date and you have short date. So there's long date. Now notice when I chose long date, I get all of these number symbols up there. And all that means is that the data in the cell is wider, or there's more characters than the width of the cell. So I can double click here and increase the column width, and it will show me the full date. We don't want to do that, so I'm going to go back to our short date right here, double click that again, resize my column. So what we have here is we have this date of birth, and we want to extract the year of that date. So what we're going to do is our function is equals, and guess what the function name is? Year. And it's now asking us what number we want to extract the year from. And we're going to do H2, and we're going to hit enter. And now notice that it's formatted now as a date. So it's trying to say the date of that. And we actually want it this time to be a number. So we're going to go ahead and click on number. And notice it has 1971.00. We don't need the decimal points. So I'm going to go up here, and right above this is you have your decimal points, either increased decimal or decreased decimals. I'm going to decrease it to 1971, and that's the year of the birth. What we can do now is then just copy it down. Now I'll do that again. So equals year. What do I want to extract the year out of? I want to do it H3. Notice it comes up as a full date. So I'm going to reformat that as a number. Get rid of the decimals. So 1968, and then I'll just copy that down. Okay. And then we can always make this look a little bit better. Okay. Right there, easier to read, where my header is actually above my data in there. And again, we just filled down. So now we're going to calculate their age. And we're going to calculate the age using December, should be December 31st, if I can type correctly, 2024. And so this will actually be very easy to do. We're going to cheat a little bit. We're just going to do equals 2024 minus the year. Okay, and notice now it gave me a date again. So I'm going to format that as a number. I'm going to get rid of my decimals and then just copy it down. Now I'll do that again for those that need to see that. Okay, so equals 2024. So it's 2024 by the end of the year. Minus 1968. It's formatted as a date, and I actually need to change that to format as a number. It gave me 2 decimals. I'm going to get rid of the decimals. Then I'm going to double click and copy it down. And then I'm going to take that and center it. Okay, so it's a little bit, again, easier to read. Now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to use a function called today. Now let me go down here below the yellow, and I'm going to show you the today function. So if I just equals today, okay, there's no input that we do here. Okay, we can close the quote or just click enter, and it will just bring up whatever today is based on the computer that you're using, based on the day and date of your computer and clock. So notice that I'm recording this on May 8th of 2024, and so there is my date. Now you might be, and will be, doing this at a different day and time, so your today answer function is going to be different than mine because you'll be doing yours on a different day. So let me go ahead and just delete that out of there, and then come up here, and so we're going to use the today function. Now we're going to do a little bit here. So equals today. Okay. And I've got to close off the function. So it's going to bring up today's date. And then I'm going to do minus. Over here, I'm going to go to the year, H2. Okay. So because we want the age as of today, I'm going to go minus H2. Now if I click return, Notice it's going to give me that. And if I format it as a number, it's going to say 19,297. Well, that's obviously not their age. When they've done this, this is done by number of days. So to convert from years to number of days to years, because we want to know their age, we have to divide that by 365. And so what I did here is I went to my function here. I'll hit escape. So if I click on any of these, notice that my function's up here in this function bar. So I can click escape and I can see everything that's going on. Let's go back there. So I can click here and I've got my function. And right here I click on this, I've got my function. So I'm just going to complete my function and hit divide by 365. Put parentheses around it because you got parentheses around today. You want to do that and divide by 365 and click return, and it's 52.87 as of today. Okay, is how old they are. And so we have these dates, and this time I'm going to go ahead and leave the decimal points in there and center it. Again, if you need me to do that again, I'll do that again real quick. Equals today, but I'm going to do parentheses today function. Close the first parentheses, so I'm closing off today, so it'll bring up today's date, minus the date they were born. Okay. Close my parentheses because that's going to be a single function because it does use the proper mathematical order. So we wanted to do the minus before we do the division, and then divide by 365, enter, and then convert that from a date to the number 56.31, copy it down, and then we'll take all of this column and center it. And let me recenter that so that the header's centered too. Okay, so here we are, and we've now completed step number 6. Step number 7 in our instruction is create a new table, okay, with size categories, and it says to watch this video and determine how many work for companies that have greater than 500 but less than 1,000 or equal employees. So we're going to actually create this table out here. We're going to go under here. We're going to do company size and count. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to start from 0 to 100. And count will be in this column. And we're going to do 101 to 250. Then we'll do 251 to 500. And then we'll do 501 to 1,000. And here we're going to do greater than 1,000. And notice that it left justified it because the greater than is a text function. It looks at it as more of text in this case, and I want it right justified, so I'm going to go up here and just change the justification. Okay. And now over here what we're going to do is we're going to use a new function called COUNTIFS. Up here we use COUNTIF. Up here we're going to use COUNTIFS. And the reason why is we're going to have it count two things. We're going to say look up under employee count, which is column O, look up the number of companies that have between 0 and 100 employees and tell us that count. So we're going to ask it to do two things. So that's why we're using the COUNTIFS function. Now we can also make it do more than 2. We can make it do 3, 4, 5, 6. I have some that are very long because there's a lot of conditions that I needed to count simultaneously. But in this case, we're going to use the COUNTIFS function. And to make it simpler, I'm going to do it up here in my formula bar. I'll start here with the equals. And now I got my formula bar up here. I'm going to start typing in COUNTIFS now. And it's asking for the criteria range. Our criteria range is this employee count. Now, what we did here for you is we went ahead and named this range. And we'll talk about naming ranges later, but what it allows us to do is go back and have a range that we highlight and name, knowing that we're going to use it over and over again. So I'm going to show you how this works, and so I'm going to bring that down. That's our range, and notice that up here it says employee count, or EMP underscore count. That's because that range has already been named for you. So employee count, okay, comma, and now what do we want it to count? Okay, what do we want it to do? Well, this is very specific on using COUNTIFs. We're going to use the quote button. What do we want it to count? Quote. We want it to count greater than or equal to, so greater than or equal to and equal to, close quote. We're going to use the ampersand, which is the and sign, which is the shift above 7. So the and sign, so we want it to count something that's greater than and equal to. And what are they asking it to do? Well, we're going to choose R11, which is the 0, comma. Okay, now it's asking us for criteria range 2. I'm going to just start typing in employee count and bring it up. It's here in green. So, and it highlights that again, comma. So now, quote, now it has to be less than and equal to, because we want it to include the 100. Okay, close quote, and what do we want it to do? We're going to point to 100 S11 and click return, and you see that we now have 6 companies that are between 0 and 100. Now I'm going to go ahead and do that again for 101 to 250. So equals, I'm going to do ifs. So my criteria range, I'm going to highlight that, and again, notice it brings up employee count. It's going to be quote, and it's got to be greater than or equal to, close quote, and sign this 101, comma, employee count, comma, quote, now it's got to be less than and equal to, close quote, and so it's got to be less than or equal to 250, return. Okay. Now I'm going to drag this down, and notice that because it is pointing to a specific range, employee count, we can drag this down. Again, we'll talk about this more later. And then what I can't do is I can't drag it down here, okay? Because this formula is trying to look up things that are greater than or equal to nothing, okay? And then less than this 1,000. And so this is text data, not numerical data, because it has this symbol in front. So this won't work. So on this one, we can just simply use a count function, and count if function, if, okay, and bring up our range, comma, and this time I'm just going to hard code it because I'm not going to point to the greater than 1,000. I'm just going to do that greater than, okay, 1,000, close quote. I don't need the and here because I'm not pointing to something. I just want you to count anything greater than 1,000, and there's 4 companies. I'll click on that again so you can see that up here, this is the function equals COUNTIF. We did the employee count, comma, quote, greater than 1,000, close quote. Okay, and it brought up 4. Now what we're going to do here is we'll bring up our total. And if we did it right, we should have Summit 21. And we'll make this look a little bit nicer. Top and bottom border. We'll bring up this. We can keep it blue We can do all borders, and so it makes it look a little bit nicer, and I will justify the count. Okay, so again, we're building a nice table. The next one says create a table showing minimum and maximum age of employees. So let's go over here, and so we'll do employee age, and we'll do minimum and max, min and max. So guess what we have? We actually have a function called min and max, minimum and maximum. So over here is equal. I'm going to start typing in min, and the function is just min. It's not minimum, it's min. Min, and it's asking us what numbers we want to look up. And we're going to go here to column J, and we'll just highlight that column and click return from J2 to J22, and we see that we have 26 employees. Sorry, the minimum age of any of our employees is 26, and we can now look up the maximum age of our employees, which is equal max. Go back here to J2, highlight down to J22, return, and so the minimum age employee is 26, the maximum age of any employee is 69. And now I'm just going to come here and make this look a little bit nicer so that we can see it. Okay, so we've now completed steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and now we're on to 9. So it says how many were hired in June using filters. So right now what we have in this is we have this set up as a range, and a table will do this automatically for us, but I like working in ranges more than I like working in tables. But one of the things that we can do is we can click anywhere on our range, okay, and we can create filters for this. So in this, go to the data page and just click on filter button, which is to the right of the sort. So click on data, and then to the right of sort is filter. And now I've got this pop up that just came on all of my headers. Okay, and that's actually a filter button on all of my headers. So we want to look at how many people were hired in June, and you can go here and manually count it. But again, this is only 21 records, 21 people. What if you have 5,000 or 10,000? So right here, I'm going to go ahead and click this down arrow, this down button on filter, and it's going to bring up what do I want to do. Okay, so right now it's under select all. I'm going to unclick select all, and then click on June, and then X out of that, just click anywhere, and notice I have 2 people that were hired in June. And it says this in 2 spots, by the way. We can just manually see it here, but down here at the very bottom, it has ready 2 of 21 records found. So that also shows you a count way down here at the bottom left. Okay. But what we want to do here is we're going to highlight these. So click on the first June and then drag to the second June. Go to your home button and then just choose a color. I'm going to choose this light orange. Okay, so what I did is I just highlighted those 2, went to my home button. This is my fill color, and I chose this first orange there. So we see that we have 2 that were hired in June, and keep this highlighted just so I can see it. So when you upload your assignment, I can see that it was done. And now what we want to do is we want to clear the filter. So click on this filter right here. The button, we can go down to the bottom that says clear filter, and now it brings us back to where we were. Okay. Now step number 10, it says sort by month hired. Now we want to sort by month hired, but not change our previous sort. Okay, so we still want to keep it in alphabetical order, last name and then first name, but now we also want to sort it by month. Okay, so that January will be at the top, and then it will be alphabetical order by January, alphabetical order by February, using the last name first and then the first name last. So we're going to do sort by month hired. And we want it to go January, February, March. We don't want to go alphabetically from April, starting in April. So let's go ahead and we click anywhere on our spreadsheet. The other thing is we're going to do real quick. I don't like keeping my filters up on the page when I'm not using it. To me, it makes my page look cluttered. So I'm going to go here to my data and I'm going to unclick. See my filters highlighted. I'm going to click off of that and get rid of that filter because I'm not using it at the moment. I don't need it right now, and I think it makes the spreadsheet look cluttered. Now, while I'm clicked on here, and I'm here on my data page, we're going to go ahead and go to sort. Now, notice I still have my previous sort there. I actually want to get rid of it. Okay, I don't want to then sort by month below this, because it will do last name, first name, then month. It's not what I want to do. So I'm going to click that minus button twice. So make sure that you have a cleared sort. And then I'm going to click plus so it brings it up to a new sort. What column do I want to sort? I want to sort month hired. We don't want to just click OK because it's going to sort it. If I did it, notice it's April, then August, and December, and that's not what I wanted. Okay. So I can do Command X out of here, but I'm just going to go back into my sort. I'm going to do month hired, but now when I click the order, I want a custom list. And Excel already brings up, a few custom lists. And in this case, it's got, Sunday, and then January and January. It's got the short name of it, and it's got the long name. And now notice on our month hired, we're using the long name, the full name of the month, not the abbreviation. So I'm going to click on this last one, January, February, March, and click OK. And click OK. And if I did it right, notice I have January here, 4 Januaries, but I also have it done in alphabetical order with Luther, Street, Wayne, and Willis, okay, in this order. So I got January, February, and I can see I have 2 in June. Okay, so that is our sort. The last thing that we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and extract a username left of the @ symbol on the email address. Okay, so we're going to come over here and we'll go here to column M. We're going to right click and do insert. And this is going to be username is what it's going to be. Okay, and it says that let's extract a username, everything to the left of the @ function. Okay, so guess what? We're going to use the left function, which we did earlier. But if we just did left and we showed our text right there, and where do we want it to do the left of? I'm going to do this, find the @ symbol, and notice that it gives me an error. Okay, so in this case, we're going to use 2 functions, one function inside another function, okay, which you can do with Excel. You can use multiple functions. So equals, we want the left function. Okay. Now inside my parentheses, there is I'm going to start with another function, and I'm going to use the function find, F-I-N-D, find. And what do we want it to find? We want it to find the @ symbol. Okay. So we put those in quotations because we're finding a specific letter or symbol, comma, within what text? Well, we want to find it within L2. Okay. And now if I close this off and click return, it brings me up this weird thing here because that's not what we want. Okay. So I'm going to use the left, and we'll show this right. Okay. So left. And what we're going to do is Let me get out of here so I can start over so you can all see how to do it properly. So equals left. And the very first thing is going to ask us the text. So I'm going to click on the text. Now I'm going to click the comma. And then I'm going to put in find. And the text I want it to find is the @ symbol. Okay. In quotations, comma. And within what text? I got to do the L2 again. And I'm going to close this off. And now I'm going to hit return and see what it does. See, it brings up Lex Luthor with the @ symbol. Well, I don't want the @ symbol to come in. Okay. I want it all the text to the left of the @ symbol, not including the @ symbol. Okay. Because we asked it to find the @ symbol, but we want the text to the left of the @ symbol. And so what it's doing right now is it's bringing in all the text to the left with the @ symbol. So I need to tell Excel to not include the @ symbol. So I clicked on it, and I've got my function up there, equals left, parentheses, L2, which look at this text string, comma, find, parentheses, quote, @ symbol, comma, L2, close my find, and then I want it to do -1 character. So take out the last character and click enter. And notice I didn't put my parentheses on the end. It's going to do that for me. Yes, and now we have Lex Luthor. I will do that again here. Equals left function. The text I want, this Meryl Streep, comma. I want it to find the @ symbol, comma, within that text, okay, and then I want it to minus the @ symbol, that character, okay, and then close the quote and click return, and we have Meryl Streep. And then I can copy it down. If you need to, just rewind a little bit and go through that. Now, I've got all this information here, but I don't want the hyperlink in here anymore, and I don't want this to be blue, because this here, if I click on this, and these aren't their real email addresses, so don't click on there thinking you can do that. But these are hyperlinked. I don't want the hyperlink anywhere. I want this formatted a little bit better. So I'm going to highlight this column, go to my home button, unclick the underline so it gets rid of the underline, and I want the text to be black. And then I'm going to come here, I'm going to resize that and make it look a little bit better. So now I have their work email, then the extracted username. All right, that concludes this assignment. There's a couple things you need to do. Go ahead and answer these 2 questions here at the bottom, and I'll answer them with you. How many work for companies with greater than 500 and also less than or equal to 1,000? We have that number right there, which is 4. So go ahead and type that in. And how many were hired in June? We did that here. We can see that we have 2 that are highlighted. The answer is 2. Now what I want you to do is go ahead and save this file. So go ahead and click File, Save As. And then on here, add your last name, first name to the file. Save it as an Excel worksheet, just somewhere on your desktop, somewhere like that. Go ahead and click Save. And then you will upload that file to the corresponding assignment number, which is S1. It'll say File Upload. Upload it there. I actually look at all of these and then go ahead and take the quiz that is associated with this assignment. Again, if you get all the questions right on the quiz, you know that you did your assignment correctly. And then just make sure that you've uploaded the assignment. If you've missed a question, you might have to go back and take a look at what you missed, and you can redo this. You can redo these assignments, the Excel assignments, as many times as you needed to get it right. Well, that completes our very first Excel assignment. Thank you very much.